Hey, welcome back to my channel. As you may or may not know, the pigment P048 is going to be discontinued, and I recently did quite a massive art haul which I will link for you, and as well as buying lots and lots of other things, I kind of confessed that I bought a few paint tubes with the pigment P048 in it, specifically the Quinacridone Gold Hues. So I'm going to share with you all the Quinacridone Golds that I bought, the other paint colors that I bought because they also have the pigment P048 in it. My hope is that this video will help you decide which, if any, P048 containing watercolors you should get for yourself before they run out. I will link everything down below in the description for you, so be sure to check that out as well. But before we start, while you're unbiased, I'm really curious to know which of these beautiful Quinacridone Golds is your favorite. So just take a mental note of which one you like, and at the end I'll tell you which is which. I bought the Quinacridone Gold made from PY150 and PO48 from Daniel Smith, Holbein and Roman Schmall. And then in addition to that, I also bought the Quinacridone Gold Hue by Roman Schmall that has PR102 instead of P048. Luckily, as it so happens, Quinacridone Gold Hue by Roman Schmall, which is PR102 and PY150, is actually one of my favorite colors and one of my go-to colors in my current Roman Schmall palette. So I was somewhat at ease when I started this experiment, knowing that there's already a color that I love that is not going to be discontinued. But I was really curious to compare it to the Quinacridone Gold Hues that have P048, which are incredibly popular at the moment. And looking at these two, the main difference that I can observe between them is that the Quinacridone Gold with the P048 is warmer and it also does not granulate. And the beautiful smooth washes that I was able to achieve with it is something that I really enjoyed. Now, I didn't find that the Quinacridone Gold Hue with the PR102 that I've been using all this time was causing me any issues with the granulation, but once I compared it to the P048, it kind of felt like the difference was clear. Next, we're going to be comparing it to the Holbein Quinacridone Gold, which again has P048 and PY150. It is beautiful. I find that all these colors thus far have been really beautiful. It is a little bit warmer than the Roman Schmall Quinacridone Golds, and it is excellent light fastness, transparent, non-staining and non-granulating. It's just a really nice, beautiful color. Now, all prices seem to be going wild at the moment in terms of being a lot higher, but as it stands at the moment, these cost £13.40 for a 15mm tube on Jackson's, and I will link everything down below for you. And if it's the first time that you're using Jackson's, then you can use my link and also get 10% off. And this is the Daniel Smith Quinacridone Gold, which again has P048 and PY150. It's excellent light fastness, non-granulating, non-staining, and again, just beautiful. I am super curious to know, when looking at these paints, can you see a clear difference? Do you have a clear favorite of one over the other? I never had the original Quinacridone Gold, which is P049 and was discontinued, so I can't attest to which one is most similar to that. I can only speak to the ones that I like looking at now based on what I have. I don't think that there is a crazy difference between them, to be perfectly honest, bar the fact that the Roman Schmall Quinacridone Gold Hue with the PR102 tends to granulate, but again, only a little bit, by no means like a significant amount. When I was looking at them, I must be honest, my favorite initially is the Daniel Smith Quinacridone Gold. I think there's just something so nice about the color, the way that it moves, the way that it feels. I just really enjoy it. As it so happens, it is currently the most expensive one out of the ones that we're looking at, currently costing £14.20 on Jackson's, and again, I'll link it down below for you with a 10% off discount. I think it's beautiful. I think they are all wonderful, and I really enjoyed all of them. As I've already mentioned, the Roman Schmall Quinacridone Gold Hue with the PR102 is one of my favorite go-to colors, and one of the first, actually the first full pan that I have completely finished. And currently, as I'm filming this, the Roman Schmall full pans cost £5.80, so they are actually the most affordable, and that is something that I love about this brand. Not only are they excellent quality and professional grade quality, but they are also affordable. like very much affordable when compared to their counterparts. So yeah, definitely consider checking them out. I will link everything down below in the description. They have released or kind of a statement highlighting the fact that they are going to be discontinuing PO48, and I think they will probably run out of it sooner rather than later. But as I've already kind of alluded to, I'm quite reassured by the fact that I already love their Quinacridone Gold Hue with a PR102, so I don't feel like I am at a drastic loss. I believe that Daniel Smith said that they kind of bought up quite a big supply of PO48, so they have enough of this to probably last them a few years. When I saw the video, I think they said they had like 15 years worth of the pigment to continue creating it, so that is quite reassuring. You don't have to be like me and rush out and buy like a whole bunch of different paint tubes that have PO48 that are Quinacridone Golds and so on and so forth, because they have time. Whereas if, for example, you look at this video and you're like, oh, I really love the Roman Schmoll one with the PO48, then perhaps you might want to get that relatively soon. I have just checked and they are still on Jackson, so it hasn't run out yet, and I don't know when it will run out, but the impression that I got is that they are going to create limited stock, and then once it's gone, it is gone. Though I am reassured by Daniel Smith having like 10 to 15 years worth of PO48 to make the Quinacridone Golds, part of me wasn't sure whether the prices would then drastically change as it starts to run out, so I just kind of thought it was worth having at least one tube. I wanted to take things a little bit further, so I actually also bought the Daniel Smith Quinacridone Burnt Orange, which is PO48 on its own, and I've just swatched that out on the right, as you can see. And the reason that I got this is not because I feel passionate about oranges. As you may know if you've seen my art, I don't tend to use oranges or reds that much, but I actually got it because I wanted to be able to mix my own Quinacridone Gold Hues should I run out of them at any given point. And I also had been advised that it's a really good mixing color, so I bought a tube with the hopes that should I ever run out of Quinacridone Gold Hue, or should I want to make my own colors, should I want to mix my own colors, I will be able to do so. I also have a Roman Schmoll Quinacridone Burnt Sienna, which is PO48, so that's what I'm swatching out for you here, and I just wanted to compare it to the Daniel Smith Quinacridone Burnt Orange, which is PO48 as well. And I just found that the Daniel Smith Burnt Orange was just a little bit deeper and darker, whereas the Quinacridone Burnt Sienna by Roman Schmoll was just a bit more on the orange side. And just to clarify, I numbered the Quinacridone Golds going from left to right 1 to 4. So Roman Schmoll Quinacridone Gold Hue is number 1 and Daniel Smith Quinacridone Gold is number 4. I know you may be asking yourself, okay, well, I got the Quinacridone Gold Hues and then I also got the PO48 on their own. Surely I stopped there. No, I did not. I looked at all the paints that had PO48 and identified my favorite ones that I felt at the time may run out. So I also bought the Undersea green by Daniel Smith, and this is just a beautiful green. I have it already, but in a 5ml tube, and I am running low on it, so I decided to just buy a 15ml tube. This has PB29, PO48 and PY150, so it's essentially like mixing your Quinacridone Gold with an ultramarine blue, and it's just such a beautiful, really lovely granulating green. And then following that, I also got the Daniel Smith Sap Green. Now this has PO48, PY150 and PG7, so it's essentially almost like mixing their new Quinacridone Gold Hue with a phthalo green, and it's just such a beautiful sap green. It's one of my favorite sap greens. Currently where I stand, I think that there is time as of February 2023, unless perhaps you are looking at getting the Roman Schmoll ones and you like them, in which case it might be worth checking them out sooner rather than later. I didn't want to kind of create, you know, the kind of pandemic toilet paper issue that we had where everyone just gets it for no reason. But when I heard, I just kind of thought that it would be worth testing them out and experimenting with them and seeing, are these kind of colors and pigments that I feel will be pivotal to my art, in which case I should buy them now, or are they like okay and can I find replacements? And I'm happy with the tubes that I have. I definitely really love the colors, but I'm also happy with the Roman Schmoll alternative that they've created with the PR102. So I feel like all is not lost. That being said, I do really like the Undersea green, and that is why I also decided to buy that separately. So these are kind of the considerations that I think is worth having, and I'm curious to see where you stand on this. I am not going to judge you, and likewise I do not expect to be judged. But I'm curious to know, have you bought your own Quinacridone Gold Hues already? Have you stocked up on it or not? Do you have the original Quinacridone Gold, the P049, which is so beloved amongst the watercolor community and I just missed out on? I wanted to kind of take things a little bit further with the experiments by actually trying to do a few mixes to see whether they create nice clean mixes, whether there's any obvious or clear differences between them, and that's what I've highlighted for you on the right. Ultimately, I think that all 4 Quinacridone Golds are really, really great, and I think it depends on whether you want tubes and the price point in terms of which one you go for, and for the moment my go-to is the Roman Schmore. And then perhaps a bit of a weird question, what is a lifetime supply of watercolors? Part of me doesn't know if I've already reached that. If you haven't already seen it, I've created a video where I highlight my entire watercolor collection, of course excluding the newest editions, and yeah, it's a lot. I don't know if that counts as a lifetime worth, but I'm happy to try. But yeah, I was definitely very curious when I was looking into this, as I genuinely have no idea how many tubes or full pans I would have to buy in order to have Quinacridone Gold Hues for my entire painting career. All the swatches have been on 100% cotton watercolor paper, so I just wanted to test out whether there would be any drastic difference on some cellulose paper, and that is what I have done in the center just to see. And again, as you can see, they are luminous, they're beautiful, they're transparent, and they just have a wonderful glow about them. If you are still watching, then you are most definitely a real MVP, and I really, really, really appreciate you. Let me know that you are still watching by telling me which is your favorite Quinacridone Gold, and I'm also curious to continue the conversation and just know, have you bought your own Quinacridone Golds already? If you love this video, then you'll definitely love this one where I highlight my favorite art supplies and the rest of my art haul. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.